Hello, you guys, and thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Journey Podcast, where I am your host, Kiera. Ah, I don't know why I feel the urge to do that little scream, that little scream when I get on here. I just be so excited. I hope that everyone had a good week. I hope that you guys are able to tune in to talk about it Thursday. I feel like that episode was so good. I got so much good feedback about it. And yeah, if you haven't seen it already, please, please, please go look. Um, and just kind of let me know what you think for sure. Today, you guys, I have notes. Get me prepared. So I'm excited about my little notes. So if you see me looking away, I am looking at my notes because I took some really good notes on today's topic. Of course, we are in a season of rebranding, and we are talking about it. Like we really just like we're really dissecting each step in this journey, and I'm so fired up about it because um this is a new thing for my new year, y'all. New year, new me. Who's this? And so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Again, this season's topic altogether is rebranding, what that looks like, what steps I've encountered thus far along the way. I know I've only been 33 for a month and some change, but it's okay. Auntie's no. Okay, all right, stop playing, stop playing, stop playing. All right, so we're gonna talk about today one of the hardest parts of this rebranding journey, um, I have to say, is breaking old patterns, just stopping old patterns, and a lot of people would refer to that as breaking generational curses. Um, Generational curses can show up as a lot of different things, and I think sometimes that we um neglect how wide of a range that whole generational curse, how wide of a range it covers for real, because it can just be something simple. It can be just like your morning routine. Oh, I saw auntie, your grandma, and I saw, this person, that person doing it. This is what I do, um and um sometimes we identify as those unhealthy habits, and we identify as those unhealthy patterns. And so rebranding is not just about looking different on the outside. It's not just about your physical appearance, but it has a lot to do with the internal shift that occurs when you decide to shift your lifestyle. Um, the true rebrand starts internally. Everything starts within. And while, like I said, most people think that it's a visual thing, you can't step into a new chapter um with yesterday's habits. You can't step into a new day. You can't step into that new version of yourself doing the old things that you used to do, the things that were unhealthy. For me, my biggest unhealthy thing that I do easily off the top of my head that I can think of is procrastination. I procrastinate more than Jesus would love for me to. I do, and I don't want to be like that. Um, so like old patterns are really like barriers for real. So that procrastination is a barrier for me. I can't move forward because I can't even move sometimes because I procrastinate endlessly. And that is something that for years I've been saying I gotta stop doing that. I gotta stop doing it. And I've actually like recently I make it my business to pray, God, please don't let the spirit of procrastination take over me. Whoever you pray to, guys, get that out there. Say what you gotta say, whatever it is. Even if procrastination is not your thing, um, even if overcommitting is your thing. God, help me to not overcommit today. In the tasks that I take on, help me to not, um, help me to just know when enough is enough, on my plate for my daily routine. And so, um, the like I said, old patterns are barriers. So they show up as familiar behaviors. And instead of you identifying it as a problem, you just think about it like, oh, well, that's just how I am. You know, when you say things like that, and somebody brings it to your attention, like, that's how you are. Just because that's just how you are, that doesn't make it okay for you to be like that. Let's just put that out there first. That's the first thing. Just because that's how you are, that does not mean that it is okay to be that way. Um, because at that point, you are identifying as that problem, as that bad habit, as that unhealthy pattern. And so, um, some signs that I came up with that just show like you're still operating in those old patterns is when you're delaying your dreams, just putting off things that you've really wanted to do for a long time, because you don't feel big enough to do that. You don't feel capable of doing that. You don't feel like that. Like I always would say in the last season, imposter syndrome, that imposter syndrome got you beat, you know? Staying silent to keep the peace, accepting less than you deserve. Like sometimes we know that we deserve better. Sometimes we know that we can do better. Sometimes we know that we're capable of doing better. And we just don't. We continue to accept less than what we deserve just to say, you know what, I'm making it. Even if I'm making it just by the skin of my teeth, I'm making it. It's cool. It's whatever. Um, a lot of people in relationships. I'm in a relationship. Okay. Just because you're in a relationship, are you just accepting anything, you know? And when you decide to make that shift, I want to say this, because I think a lot of the times, people are afraid of others saying, oh, well, you changed, and oh, well, I always used to do this to you. You ain't never said nothing about it before. Okay, I'm changing. I'm evolving. I'm different. I might have accepted that in the past. I'm no longer willing to accept that. You either line up with what's new, what the boundaries that I'm setting, or you can just go. And we have to set those boundaries. It's hard to set boundaries when you didn't have any. It's hard to even think that you're even worthy of having boundaries. Like, where I get boundaries from? Where I get these boundaries from now? But they're necessary because without boundaries, you are allowing just anything. You're accepting just anything. And so, another thing, that shows you, the another sign that is saying that you're still operating those old patterns is when you start feeling guilty for choosing yourself. When you say, you know what, I know that I deserve XYZ, and you say, well, I don't want to make um I know I deserve that, but I don't want to make so and so feel bad because I feel like I deserve a better friend. I feel like my friends should show up for me more. And and it's okay that they don't, because I mean, they can just do what they can afford to do. But no. This is what I need. And this is what I need from you as a friend. This is what I need from you as a partner. This is how I need you to show up. This is how I need you to be in my life. And people that love you, they will conform to those new boundaries. They will say, you know what, you do deserve that. You're a great person. I had somebody I had somebody buy me some rice, y'all. And I didn't know that she was gonna buy me rice, but I was staying like at home. Everybody except for my husband loves rice. My husband does not want rice. He will eat rice, but he'll be like, go light on the rice. Put more of everything but rice on my put more of everything except for the rice, than rice. I should say. Yeah. That's how he. So rice is a big thing. We cook rice every day. So we have rice and chicken, rice and beef, rice, rice and peas. We got rice with everything. And so, um, egg, rice, and sausage. And so, the lady bought me some rice, and I was so grateful for it because she bought a lot. And I was like, she was like, "What kind of rice do you like?" Because I was like, if I don't eat anything, I eat rice. And I said, even rice is getting expensive. And she was like, you know what? She was like, she just wanted to do something for me. She just wanted to give me something. And so she bought me, I told her we like basmati rice. And so it can get expensive when you're, especially with a large family like myself. I have a big family. I need lots of rice. We eat, okay? These kids eat. And so and so she bought me some rice and I was so grateful for the rice. She was like, "It's just rice." She was like, "You deserve so much more than you asked for." And I was like, "Girl, get out my business." She was like, "You're so like you're overly humble. Like you're to a point where you like it's almost like I make myself small sometimes. Where it's like, okay, I mean, it's okay. You could just give me a little to nothing. You can just give me some pennies. You can just, and she was like, you deserve so much more than you asked for. And, um, you should see yourself in the light that others see yourself. And lately I've had friends that just that just they promote me seeing myself in a light that I didn't see myself in previously. And so I had to for myself, I had to start. I always wanted to say, like, I want to see me like God sees me. I want to see me like my friends see me too. I have a healthy friend base. I have a healthy friend base, and so my friends sometimes they text me inspirational stuff and encouraging stuff I'm used to me being the one to do that. And so when they do that for me, it's just like, wow, you thought of me this morning? Um, my my biological grandfather's wife, which I refer to her as my grandma, um, the sweetest lady that I've ever known. She's never made me feel like a step grandchild. She's never made me feel less than any any of the grandchildren that she has that came from the children that she has. As my mom is her stepdaughter, she thinks about me like, and it blesses my heart so much. She like we can go so much time without talking, and she checks on me. She says, "Hey, and if I haven't seen her in years and she can still consider me as an adult, she can still like I can still cross her mind. The people in my day to day, what excuse do they have? When I say this lady makes it her business to show me love, to show love to each and every one of my children, and to not even like it's not a burden for her to love me, to consider me, and to just to wonder, how is Kiara doing? What's going on in Kiara's world? Is Kiara okay? She texts me. She just and she does it like she makes it her business to find me. And she not on social media. She will find me wherever I am. She will find myself and my siblings. Um, and that's her. That's someone that loves you. People that love you are going to show up no matter what that looks like. They're going to care for you no matter what that looks like. And so, and you deserve that. We all deserve that. We deserve people that love us in our lives. We deserve people that consider us. Um, and so, um, breaking those unhealthy patterns, it feels uncomfortable because you're so familiar with the way that that's just how I am. You're so familiar with that you have owned that identity. You have owned that those unhealthy patterns as your um as your identity. And so your brain wants familiarity. Is it familiarity or familiarity? Somebody tell me. even if it's even if it's unhealthy, your mind wants that. Like, okay, I'm used to that. I'm go for what I know. Growth forces you into unfamiliar emotional spaces as well. So it gets you in a place where, I don't know what's going on. I mean, this feeling is unfamiliar. Um, Sometimes you're going to lose people when you set those boundaries for yourself. When you say, hey, you know what? I don't want to gossip anymore. Oh, you think you're better than, and everybody that is working hard to break unhealthy patterns or break generational generational curses, there always is sometimes, well, I can't say always, but sometimes people that are familiar with that's just how they are and that's just who they are, and oh, you've always been like that, and oh, you always accepted that. They do not like the fact that you want to change sometimes, and they're like, oh, she thinks she better than everybody. She act like she too good for that. Yes, I am too good for the poverty mindset. I am. I know I used to be okay with it. I used to live like that. I used to thrive in a poverty mindset. Yes, I am better than that. I want you to be better than that. Yes, I did used to lie a lot. I know I don't like lying, y'all. So I'm just saying, like, these are different. I don't do that anymore. Yes, I used to hang out all night, I used to drink until the sun come up, and I adopted a lot of bad habits that were unhealthy, and I do not want to do that anymore. And so here you are, the people that are familiar with those things, they do not like that you want to change. They don't like that you want to be better than that. And they say things like, you think you're better. Yes, I do think I'm better than that. I want to be better than that. I want you to be better than that. I want you to come up out of those habits that you have. I want you to break those old patterns. I want you to stop watching porn all day until the sun comes up. I want you to stop drinking and smoking until you can't anymore. I want you to stop um making yourself small in rooms that you have the capability to be big in. I want you to stop listening to people that say, "Oh, you think you're bigger than the program." Yes, I am bigger than this program because this program is small. This program is smaller than me. Yes, it is. I am bigger than the program. Yeah. That's me. Bigger than the program. The program is small and I'm bigger than this, and I deserve to show up in that way. And so um there's power in interrupting those patterns, like, although it might be uncomfortable because the old version of you is fighting you, and so it's resisting this change because it can't survive in a new level. These old patterns wouldn't stand a chance in this new version of you. They can't show up, they can't thrive in you being that new version of yourself. And so and it starts with you just making little steps. You just adopting a small habit. You correcting yourself in the tract of in the act of that old pattern. You know what? Hey, you know what? I was about to say that I do have no, I don't have imposter syndrome. Mm-mm. I don't have that. That's correcting yourself. One thing that I do, I say all the time. I was telling a friend of mine, I want to be intentional with my words. I don't want to just be saying anything, because my words, I've seen how powerful my words are, and so um, a lot of the time, I'm so used to saying some things that I'm like, nope, I'll catch myself in the middle of it, and I'll say, nope, I'm not saying that. This is what I want to say instead. I want to say something. I want to be intentional with my words in this moment or whatever, and so I'll catch myself. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to catch yourself so much that it becomes normal that you just don't say those things. You get tired of catching yourself in the middle of saying, I'm broke, I ain't got it, and just say, owning that. You don't want to own those things. You want to say, you want to speak the truth, but you want to speak things that are not as though they were. And so the power of interrupting the pattern, these um, patterns, they break through understanding, um, and they help you to make different choices. The moment you say, I usually would say this, but I won't this time. I usually would do this, but I won't this time. Um, you start to shift. The shift begins when you say, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not talking like that anymore. I'm not showing up like that anymore. I'm not accepting the bare minimum in this relationship anymore. I'm not okay with what I used to be okay with. And growth happens in the pause between the trigger and the response. Mm. So when you're triggered by and this is how you react to things, when people say things that may have used to sent you across the water and made you so angry you would have blew some stuff up, or did something to you that would have caused you to react in a way that you don't want to react anymore. You don't want to show up like that anymore. um it's the pause in between. That's when the shift happens. When you can be in that moment and you can realize, you know what? I was about to act in an unhealthy way. And sometimes people will push your buttons because they know what triggers you, just to see that you still are who you used to be. You're not this new person that you claim to be. You ain't that. You're not that. You still, you still Kiara from the block. You still that old version of yourself. You want to walk around acting like you're better. You ain't better. You still who you used to be. No, I'm not. And in that moment, it's you making the choice to interrupt that pattern, to say, nope, that ain't it. That's not me. That's not who I am. Um, and so you setting these new patterns, they're uncomfortable because it's you setting new boundaries. And when you've never had boundaries before, what's that? What does that look like? If you don't know what boundaries are, do your research. Look into these things. Look at, how do I set boundaries for myself? Y'all, we use the internet for all these things. Use the internet for that. Use Chat GPT, use what is it called? Gemini, all these things. And so it's uncomfortable because you're having to have a new type of discipline, discipline, like new emotional discipline, new ways of responding, new standards for yourself, new expectations of others. That expectations of others, when you start telling people, you know, as my friend or as my partner, as my coworker, this is what I expect. If we're gonna move forward, this is what I expect of you. And they're like, well, you were cool with me just like doing the bare minimum before. You were cool with just, what was, like, what's up? Okay, well, I was, and I realized how unhealthy that was. I realized I'm no longer willing to accept those things. So when you start, when you tell people, I expect more out of you. I deserve more from you. And also, like, the biggest thing is you just confronting the fact and you owning the fact, that you just being honest with yourself. You did have unhealthy habits that were no good, habits that just were just toxic, really. And so the old version of you is gonna fight back when the shift occurs. The old you is gonna want to to come out like, oh man, oh, you're gonna have to fight the feeling. You're gonna have to fight the urge to respond the way you used to respond. You're gonna have to fight the urge to settle for the things that you used to settle for, because that old you wants to live there. And it's just like a marriage. When you become one with someone else, you have to die to yourself. What does that look like? That's just how I am. You have to, and it's not even just with marriage. When you're in any type of relationship, when you're in any type of partnership, you have to sometimes to work with others, some of your old habits, they cannot thrive in this new version of you. They can't thrive in this new season. It's like leaves in the fall. In the fall, the leaves come off the trees. They fall off the trees. I wonder if that's what they call it, fall, autumn, whatever. Um, the leaves fall off. Why do the leaves fall off? Let's look up because I really, honestly, don't know. I'm gonna look it up. Why do leaves? Oh, ooh, this is good. I like this. Well, fall is my favorite season, but let's talk about it. Leaves fall in the autumn, in fall, as a way for trees to prepare for winter, conserve energy and water, and protect themselves from damage. Um, Shorter days and colder temperatures trigger a process where the trees form a layer of cells at the base of the leaf stem, which cuts off nutrient and water transport and eventually causes the leaf to detach. By shedding their leaves, trees enter a dormant state, reducing the risk of damage from freezing temperatures, heavy snow, and wind. That is good. That is so good. Wow. So in the fall, let me tell y'all what I took from that. In the fall, to protect themselves from damage, the trees let go of the leaves that have been there all year. They do this every year. They let go of their old identity. They showed up. You might have seen a um, pretty full tree, and in the winter, that tree is no longer full. It's naked. It's changing. It's adjusting to the new season. Hold on now. It's adjusting to the new season to protect itself. I like that. I like that a lot. And wow. That was a good read just now. I'm so like, that wasn't in my notes. um, that is good. Wow. I like that. Sometimes you're gonna have to make those changes to protect yourself. Breaking patterns is just not, it's not about perfection. At first you're gonna start off, you're gonna get frustrated with yourself. You're gonna get frustrated with the fight between the old you and the new you. And it's not about being perfect. Um it's not about like this you just jumping straight into this new version of yourself and you just showing up automatically without trial and error. Um it's not about that. It's not about it just being smooth sailing. It's about consistency. It's about those moments where you have to correct yourself and catch yourself, and then choose better. It's about that, about you doing that again and again. It's about you choosing to choose better. It's about you just um trying to adopt new. Well, it's about you adopting those new patterns. And every time you choose and repeat this new behavior, a little bit um, of that old you gets weaker and eventually it dies. Wow. Like those leaves in the fall. And then in the spring, they come back and they come back so much more beautiful than they were before. The colors are thriving, the colors are just so vibrant. It's rebranded. It's rebranded. And like I said, the old version of you is it's gonna fight back, not because it's bad, but it's because it's all you've known. You know, that fight is not a bad fight. It's a fight that is necessary. Um, And so you don't just break these patterns to improve your life. You break them to become someone you've never been. And as that person that you've never been might be foreign to you, it's who God's called you to be. And you'll see yourself having to do this over and over and over again as you evolve, because of the fact that um maybe that version of you at some point was necessary. Maybe that's, a new level for you. That version of you may have been necessary, but in your new season for you to keep moving, some of the things you can't take with you. Some of those things you just have to do away with. And so if you're feeling the urge to grow, listen to it. That's your spirit saying, you know what, we can't keep doing this. Enough is enough. That's your heart saying, I deserve more. I'm worth more. Old patterns, they show up dressed like comfort, but there was blocking you from the next chapter, that new season, and you deserve a life that reflects your potential, a life that doesn't reflect, oh, that's who you used to be, the hurt that you've been through, and the things like that. Every time you choose differently, you're rebranding your life. Every time you're choosing differently, you're rewriting your story. You're becoming the version of yourself that you've prayed for, the one that you worked so hard to become, the one that that you've been waiting for, the one that God called you to be. And so this is your season to move with intention, the season of rebranding. Be intentional in all things that you do. Stop rehearsing those same patterns. Stop shrinking yourself in rooms where you were called to be bigger than the program. Stop resisting where you're supposed to be elevating. Stop loving people harder than you love yourself. Stop showing up for people more than you show up for yourself. Stop explaining the choices that you've made. Yes, I want different. Why do I want different? Because I do. I don't have to sit here and explain to you that I want to be made new. Make me over. Make me nice. That made me think about Tina Turner when I said that. You don't have to explain that to people. I don't like that anymore. So what if I used to settle for that? I don't like it anymore. I'm telling you that now. If you can't conform to what's new with me, if you're not willing to elevate with me, if you're not willing to go to this next level with me, so be it. And you have to, guys, you got to be okay with letting people go. People that they ain't willing to come up a little higher. They ain't willing to be on the same page as you. Don't get me wrong. If anybody knows it, I know it's hard to let go of things that you're comfortable with, things that things that you've accepted, and to be the person on the other end, that the person that is the one that is let go of. um you have to be okay with somebody. If you love someone, you will be okay with them choosing what's best for them, whatever they feel. And nobody knows what's best for you better than yourself. Nobody knows what's best for you better than you. um so again, you rebranding is not just about changing how you look. It's changing how you show up. Changing how you show up for yourself, how you show up for others, changing what you choose for real. Um, and the moment you start breaking your old patterns, your old identity, that's the moment you unlock that new version of you, the one that you wanted to be, the one that God called you to be. So just stop delaying those dreams. Start acting on the things. Stop procrastinating, Kiara. Stop procrastinating, you. Um, it's time. It's time for you to stop repeating those old patterns. Stop caring about what everybody's going. Oh, she thinks she better. Oh, he think he bigger than the program. Yes, you are bigger than the program. The program that these people are programmed into is pathetic. It's terrible. You know, you are bigger and better than that poverty mindset. You are bigger than that. Yes, you are. Own that. Yeah. She thinks she all that in a bag of chips. Yes. Tostitos, the big bag, family size. Yes, yeah, all of that in a bag of chips. And I got the dip too. I want all the dips. The red one, the salsa, the yellow cheese, and that white stuff too. Yeah, and get me some guacamole too. All of that in a bag of chips and all the dips. Yeah, that's me. Mm-hmm. Show up like that. Be confident like that. Um, Give your old self grace. Yes, you survived using old patterns that once protected you. You survived. Survival mode and healed mode cannot coexist. You got to choose one. You want to stay in survival mode or you want to operate in heal mode. The two cannot coexist. You have to choose one. You can only thrive in one at a time. You choose. You want to stay in survival mode? Do that. That's you. That's a choice that you have to make for yourself. Um, but you have to accept the fact that you have to accept the fact that it's okay to evolve. It's normal to evolve. That's normal. Um, and it's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to switch it up. It's okay to not do what your homies on the block used to always do. Um, yeah. 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 So stop giving those old patterns permission to be your identity. They make you believe that repeating them is normal and safe, and it's not. And it's not okay. Um, those are learned behaviors that it's time to unlearn. And um, if you don't mind sharing with me the homework this week, because we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up, because I can't just keep going about how these old patterns are just they're not okay. They're not you. The homework this week, if you feel like it, what um let me know what unhealthy patterns you have that you'd like to break, and maybe we can come up with an action plan together, because maybe it's something that I deal with too. Procrastination is not the only unhealthy thing that I do. um and I'm not a perfect person as I would love to be. None of us are perfect. All of us are growing, all of us are learning, and all of us are trying to navigate through a life that we've never lived before, to get to a place that we've never been to before. And so as we're doing that, we are not perfect. We are who we are. And as we work towards being the better version of ourselves, it's time for us to be intentional and to no longer accept what was. It's time for that. It's time to put the old version of you to rest. And it's time for you to die to yourself so that the new you can thrive. I love you guys with my whole heart. I cannot wait to see you on Thursday, because I love seeing you on Thursday. If you haven't already, please, please, please tune in to this week's, the previous week's Talk About It Thursday episode. I really did love it. And yeah, so have an amazing week. I pray that God is good to you all, and to myself. Um, in ways that we just couldn't imagine this week. Um, and I want to say one more thing. Let me just say one more thing. I have a friend, guys, that really pushed me into wanting to be to get out of the old pattern of making myself small. Um, and met him almost 2 years ago, and he was like, "What business do you want to do?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I when I finally decided, he said, I'm gonna ask you again in a couple of months. He came back a couple of months later and was like, did you decide? And I was like, yeah, I decided. I know what I want to do. And I told him, and he said, what does being in that business look like for you? And I said, and he was like, and when you let me know, I want you to think big. Think bigger than normal. Think bigger than, like, because I think that he knows how I will just like, he was like, you're so good at everything that you do. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. And so he was like, why do you do that to yourself? You just all. And so he encouraged me to start thinking bigger than the program. And so he would say, like, what does that look like to you on a bigger scale? Like something like outside of your box. And so have people in your corner that do that for you. Have people in your corner that when you tell them your new ideas, they they get into building mode where they want you to be big in that. They don't want you to be small. They want you to thrive in that, you know? They want to know what that looks like for you so that they can help you get to that in any way that they can, whether it's encouraging words, whether it's prayers, whether it's financial assistance, whatever that looks like. Um, have people in your corner like that. That's important. So on this new journey, new friends if needed, if the old ones are not serving their purpose, because everything and everybody is not going to be able to come to this new level with you. And so but the people that are, grateful for them, grateful for their growth mindset. um yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm gonna stop right there because we were at 40 minutes in this episode. But I feel like God is so good. I love how He's just allowing me to be free in this season. So, yeah, I love you guys with my whole heart. Do the homework. You can text the hotline 770-802-1200. You'll also see it in the credits. Check out the website for the latest episode here on the Journey Podcast, and any news that you might be able to use is going to be on the website at thejourneypodcast.life. Again, I love y'all with my whole heart, and I hope that y'all have a good week. And that's today's show. Have a good one. Love y'all. Bye.